Well, I don't know if anybody's waiting. We're just gonna wait for people to hop on, and then I'm gonna share this out so that the groups see it. Ooh, there's my video. Let's turn the sound off. Make sure that's at a negative. Perfect. Okay. We're gonna spam a couple groups here. Hey everybody, we're just waiting for people to hop on. We're going to talk about Delta 8 products today with Blackhouse Botanicals, aka Cannabis Biosciences. Maybe I should have copied that description. Let's send this out. We're just hanging tough. Share to group.
I taught same class for years.
Really? Keep going.
I'd go walking in the building all nice and good, and if I'd say the time, I'd like, just that's real quick.
Thanks for your time today, you guys, by the way. I know you have a ton of stuff to do.
Of course. We like doing this stuff.
It's Friday.
Well, at least I
Good. Oh, yeah, it is Friday, so it's like more of a cash day anyway, right?
Yeah, just getting stuff finished up for the week, so.
Heck yeah. Okay, let's see how big of a lag we got. Dun, dun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna share it here. I wonder if I can have two of them going at the same time. Let's see. Let's in that group, and then I'll go to my regular profile because I hate missing comments, and sometimes hello. Sometimes Facebook kind of like dumbs it down, and I don't even see more than half of the comments that come through.
Oh.
It's really weird. I don't know why they do that, but it's like it kind of picks and chooses who's pop out and who's don't. So that's why I'm kind of double fisting it, if you will, doing it on the computer and the phone, because the computer will show me.
It'd be better if I sat over there.
No, I've got the phone here for right now, but I'm actually just gonna sit behind the camera and just ask questions from back here, and you guys will be front and center. Okay. So hopefully we can see the comments live. Okay. And lots of times it's kind of a weird time during the day. Most people are still at work, so we'll probably catch a bunch of replay. But hi everybody. We are, hey Karen or Joey or both of you. I'm never sure which one of you is on when you're on, but it's usually Joey, right? Just walked through Cannabis Bioscience and got a really cool tour of how they make their products and what they're using and their extraction process, and just got to know these guys a lot better. I know that Delta 8 has been a pretty hot topic for a few months now, I think, since Delta 8's been out. But it's an even hotter topic now, so we figured that I would start interviewing companies that make these products so that you guys can hear things from the horse's mouth, because everybody's an internet warrior, right? But we have like real science and stuff going on in some of these labs, so why not learn from the scientists themselves? And so I'm going to turn the camera around and turn it basically over to these guys, but we'll ask them some questions. Hi. We'll have you introduce yourselves, and I will stay over here and I will look for questions from the crowd and just make sure that people aren't being left behind when they ask questions in some of these groups. We might not have a whole lot of live action just because it is kind of a weird time of the day, but we got 3 people watching right now, and that'll probably get better as time goes. But lots of replay action on stuff like this, though, so it'll be okay. So anyway, without further ado, let's get it going, and we'll introduce you guys.
Okay. My name's Michael Hulsey. I am the Chief Science Officer here. I run R&D and all of our laboratory practices. So.
I'm Jeffrey Colbert. I'm the botanist here. I also have degrees in chemistry and criminal justice. I do a lot of the lab work. Part of that is production of gummies, tinctures, and final products. So.
Heck yeah. I'm going to shut this door if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just so they can hear you. Phones are awesome, but they're not the best with sound. This one's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I think what we'll do is we'll start with let's start with the extraction process for Delta 8, because I know there's people that are saying that battery acid and pool cleaner is being used, or any form thereof. Those are just the specific words. So let's start there, because that's pretty alarming if you're just like a regular person trolling the groups and looking on the internet, and all of a sudden somebody says that Delta 8 is extracted with pool cleaner and battery acid, and then they go and they throw their gummies away because they're like, holy smokes, didn't know that. So let's talk about that one first.
Okay, so that's it's kind of a silly topic, because what do you mean by pool cleaner? You know, my parents have a saltwater pool. Other people have chlorine-based pools.
Right.
Like, what do you mean by that? If you're meaning something like bleach, that's not really going to have any kind of effect that would be what anybody wants. It's not scientific. I didn't mention it, but I have a background in chemistry, biochemistry, and microbiology, as well as 2 other degrees, and I have an active pharmacy technician's license. So, like, everything we do here has a basis in science behind it. Like, we spent a whole lot of time to make sure that nobody's getting any kind of product that is unsafe, is unclean, doesn't have any kind of like efficacious nature to it, and as natural as it can be. So as far as the claim that bleach and some of these things like battery acid is being used in these products, I really can't say what's being used in other labs. Our lab is not using anything like that as any basis for any of our products. We do use a lot of bleach every day.
Right, in the mop bucket.
Yeah,
right.
to clean. So, you know, so it's a little silly.
We have a very clean, very sanitary environment here,
Yeah.
because we know what we're making goes into someone's body.
Yes.
We're not about harming people in any way, shape, or form.
No,
Right.
So,
no.
Right.
It's not why we're here. As far as battery acid, again, it's a vague statement that is terrifying for no reason. If you're talking about sulfuric acid, H2SO4, I would think that would make some kind of change, as would bleach, if you just dumped it in some distillate or isolate. But as far as what it does, or whether that would be like an efficient product
Right.
or a way to do anything other than clean, I can't say. What
Right.
other people are doing, can't say that either. But bleach, for one, wouldn't make any change to a cannabinoid other than making it not fit for consumption.
right.
Like sterile in a way, kind of like.
Yeah, I don't know if sterile would
Yeah.
be the thing. I don't know if it would be anything other than bleach mixed with CBD or bleach mixed with distillate
Right.
oil or whatever you want to call it. So as far as something acidic, you might get some changes there, but a lot of those are going to be very unspecific, and they're going to be very, it's just going to become some kind of chemical soup that, you know, who knows what's in it.
Right.
So.
And what products do you guys have right now that have the Delta 8 in them?
So, just to start off with,
Gummies.
Delta 8 is a natural part of the degradation pathway of THC. So after all the cannabinoids are made enzymatically in the plant, you know, people have talked about, well, it's in the plant. Okay, so CBN, you know, Delta 8 is just a more stable version of Delta 9. And we kind of talk about why that is, but it's very interesting. But CBN is an even more stable form of THC too, and it's just one step past that as well. So as far as our products, we have 2 gummies that contain Delta 8, as well as Delta 9, CBG, CBD, CBC, THCV, CBDV. Am I missing any? CBN.
As I
tiny
say,
bit.
the CB alphabet
Yeah.
is in our products.
Yeah. So we love this plant. We love all the miners. There's big players like CBD,
Mhm.
THC,
CBG.
even CBG is becoming more known, which we love CBG.
And then isn't
we
Delta
love-
8 a step down from CBG? Is that what it is on the
Well,
degradation scale?
CBG is like the mother cannabinoid.
Okay.
That's the first step that the plant makes. And then depending on the enzymes, it'll either go THC or CBD. And then from that point, the degradation continues. And it's like a big
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I didn't know that. Okay, no, that's good to know.
So THC, CBC, and CBD are all made separately through enzymes in the plant from all the acidic forms anyway. It's CBGA,
Right.
and then it comes through.
Okay.
So those three we know very specifically. They're made through specific enzymes.
Right.
So from
Okay.
there, like CBN and Delta 8 THC are just along that degradation pathway from THC.
So you're not actually extracting out like a ton of Delta 8. That's not how it works. You're basically just waiting for the degrade process to happen or speeding it up or something.
And we
So it's
speed
not
it up.
necessarily unnatural.
Right.
It's a natural process that happens.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's
Very
just as natural
Okay.
as CBN. There's plenty of CBN products out there as well.
That no one's griping about.
Nobody's griping about, and I think
they're
the
asleep
reason
already.
for that is because it doesn't have the same type of effect as
Right.
a Delta 8 or a Delta 9 THC does. But it's literally one step past that, and we can certainly draw it up and talk about how that happens and what that looks like, why Delta 8's more stable, why it's more resistant to oxidation.
Yeah.
Which
If you want to, let's do it.
CBN really comes from oxidation or some other stress on THC.
Okay.
So CBD, it's all a part of the same process. So
Right.
yeah,
So-
CBN. Go ahead.
If we go back to your original question, how are we extracting it?
Yeah.
We're taking it from the plant.
Yeah.
We have a whole bag in our warehouse right now that we're pulling out of. We extract the oils, we refine the oils, and degrade some of the isolates that we take, and that's how we get what we have. And then we put it into our final product at ratios that we know work. We're not just guessing and throwing stuff in here and
Right.
pretending we're master chefs or whatever. We're actually taking peer-reviewed papers and making these ratios.
Right. We're
Yeah.
applying research that we've spent over a year and a half just trying to make sure, like triple, 4 or 5 times over
Over and
that
over.
everything is safe, clean, and as natural as it can be.
Yeah, how long did it take you guys to come out with your first gummy that hit the
The
shelves?
first gummy took us almost 2 years.
Mhm.
The first tincture took us about a year and a half. And that was just because the raw product, we have 3 different kinds of tinctures in multiple strengths, so about 6 different tinctures. And then we have 2 different kinds of gummies. Going to be coming out with a new one here shortly, which is exciting.
It is great.
And then we
I
have
know
2,
we got people on here that want to test products.
Yeah. We've got 2 topical products as well.
Nice.
So not all of those contain Delta 8 in any other form other than like a minor part of the makeup. But it is a natural part of processing hemp. That degradation pathway happens through heat, time, or some kind of stressor like an oxidizer or something like that. And I think when people hear those words and they're not used to that, they think like, oh, they must be using something like
Toxic.
scary or
Yeah.
toxic to make that
Yeah.
happen, right? But you could shine a light on the wrong wavelength of light on a hemp plant that
Yeah.
has no THC, and it will produce THC. So it's a natural response to not only the plant protecting itself, but then also the things that we do, and not just us, but everybody in the industry, to clean up the product and make it bioavailable for your body to absorb. Like we talked about, the plant makes the acidic version. The
Yeah.
carboxylic acid is on there. You have to decarboxylate that for it to really be able to hook into your endocannabinoid system. there is studies being done about the acidic forms, and they have been
Right.
shown to help with some things. But as far as like the major bioactive version goes, we have to decarboxylate that and change it from the acidic form the plant makes anyway. And even just that is enough stress to create some delta 8. Not necessarily like in our products where the THC
Right.
content of our oils and things like that is so low, but especially with like actual like drug type marijuana, cannabis,
Yeah.
the THC content's going to be high enough. I've certainly seen COAs that show delta 8 even after carboxylate or decarboxylating. So
I think of Green Dragon when you guys talk about the degradation process, and maybe that's why so many people back in the day loved Green Dragon. Maybe they were consuming Delta 8 and didn't even know it. I don't know. That just kind of like where
I'm not familiar with
that's the alcohol extraction. Like if they were to make Rick Simpson oil,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they, instead of boiling it down with heat to make that RSO, they would just put the alcohol stuff in a bottle and just let it sit in a
That's right.
dark closet for like 6 months at a time, and you would lose some alcohol, but it's still like a alcohol based tincture, so it
Yeah,
burns
right.
when you put it under your tongue.
Right.
But I'm
Well,
like, okay,
that's-
well maybe that's why so many people loved it, and they didn't really realize that there was a degradation that's
Right,
happening.
yeah.
I don't know, maybe
There
they
probably
did,
was.
but
And in those days, the labs wouldn't test it, so how would we know?
yeah, how would we know?
yeah,
we
it's
have
only within the last year and a half.
we do have a question. Where did your question go, Dean? Now I'm not seeing it. Okay. Oh, okay. So, what extraction solvents do you use in the extraction? I can't talk. In the extraction process.
So it depends on what part of the process, but as far as the extraction goes, we use non-denatured ethanol. So it's 99% ethanol, has no other denaturants in it, it's clean. It's very straightforward to get it out of the product once we've extracted it from the biomass.
Nice. And then Zach might have missed it. He's wondering if you make your own Delta 8 or buy it from somewhere.
Everything that we put out is made from plant material that we bring in from local farmers.
Yep, and I saw it.
You took it out, yeah, so-
Do you guys have enough of that? Because I love farmers, and so I'm always just trying to help them with their business. Do you guys have enough
We-
biomass
we
for
need
now?
Do more.
Yeah. So the fact that we're like everything here, tinctures, gummies. I know everybody's very interested in the gummies
Yeah.
and discussing that, but tinctures, our topicals, the gummies, everything here is handmade. So like every single bottle is handmade, like hand
Yep.
mixed. We mix in small batches only when we need more product, like for backstock and things like that. So we tend to be fairly picky with the hemp that we bring in, but we've worked with a few really great farms in the past. So
Heck yeah.
if anybody is a farmer out there that hasn't talked to us or would like to reach out, we also do have sometimes for tolling and things like that. But-
Awesome.
I will add this though. We only bring in clean hemp,
Right.
so make sure that if you want us to do some of this work, that you have a full Utah panel COA, which includes pesticides, metals, toxins, microbials. We need to make sure that what we're bringing in is as clean as our lab.
Yep.
Right.
Everything that we process, we make sure not only meets our standards for cleanliness already in the plant, but also has the terpene profiles, the minor
Right.
cannabinoids, and all of those things that we love about the plant already there, so we can pass that on to those that use our products.
Nice. I love it. And that's kind of how it should be, I feel like. Unless you
Yeah.
can do it that clean and that safe on a big, huge scale, but it just seems like craft products with like real humans and real scientists to catch the
Right.
problems or the non-problems going through the line. Like it just seems like it's a better experience probably if it's a smaller craft product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're asking, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of big players out there that make a wonderful product. There's
There's a
plenty
lot.
out there.
Yeah.
Some people do big dirty
Big dirty distro, is that what you're
No,
saying?
not big dirty distro. Big dirty like extractions, and then that's all they do, right? That's kind of what they're there for. And then, people buy the crude or the distillate or things like that.
Yeah.
But whether we're using crude for our products, we're using distillate for our products, we're using an isolate for our products, at every step of that we've created from the plant. Well, we don't bring anything in other than biomass from farmers.
Yes.
Right.
And I think maybe we get a little bit more clear just based off the comments, maybe, and I know we just went over it, but maybe get a little bit more clear on how the Delta 8's actually isolated, because the question is, denatured ethanol is the only solvent used to isolate Delta 8?
I don't know what
But
that means.
you're
Yeah.
using the solvent to make your distillate, and then you're speeding up the degradation process for the Delta 8. You're not actually like doing a double extraction, I guess, if you
Right.
will.
No, I'm not sure
With alcohol.
why they would think that denatured ethanol would be the only way to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
it's
sure
in
why.
question
It's
for.
in question.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So denatured, we don't use denatured ethanol first. We use non-denatured ethanol, so it's just pure ethanol. As far as using we don't use any ethanol to distill anything. That's kind of past the point of needing that. So after we extract it, you remove the alcohol from the extracted crude or RSO oil, however you want to
Yeah.
think about it. That's what it is. And the ethanol is completely stripped out of it.
And then no more ethanol used to get to the D8 at
Right.
that point. Okay,
No.
so
And
I think we just needed
maybe
to
some
clarify.
definitions would work. So crude is the very first extract.
Right.
When you distill it, you're actually heating it up and reaching different boiling points, and you're actually removing some of the harsher chemicals, so that you got a more pure distillate.
Does that change color, or is it still
changes
dark
color.
brown?
It's more amber. It's,
Okay.
It's a clearer brown.
You can see through it most
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah.
Where the
Okay.
RSO or the crude, you can't.
You can't. Yeah, it's like a
Dark,
tar.
it's
Yeah.
very tar-like. There's usually wax and some fats in there.
Right.
Some sugars and things like that. And we have a proprietary method that we spent a lot of that time making to make sure that all of that is cleaned up before we do anything with it. Like
Right.
from plant biomass to us doing anything with it is a minimum of 3 weeks of processing.
Right.
And yeah,
Okay.
it's
Um,
Yeah, so
Get on
to continue.
tangents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you get your crude, your initial extract, then your distillate, which is now your broad spectrum, or your actually full spectrum. If you want to take out the THC, that's where your broad spectrum distillate comes from. But now there's another step where it's crystallization or isolation of actual just CBD, just CBG, just a specific chemical. It's from that point that we actually get our Delta 8.
and somebody is asking how you isolate that the D8.
Well,
Whatever
that's kind
you
of
whatever.
proprietary.
Okay. No, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
It is isolated. I'm happy to pull up our 99 point, what was it, 99.6%,
yeah.
which is just as high
What's
as
up, Preston?
pretty much any of the isolates that you're going to get
Right.
from anybody.
Okay.
So as far as the purity goes, like I said, I give this to my parents. I know Jeff gives
Yep.
it to his parents.
My
I
kids.
give it to my grandparents. I give it to people that, are, and I'm talking about our products, not anything out of our lab, but
Right.
I would not be giving something to my grandmother if I wouldn't have made sure that it was clean and purified
Mhm.
enough to the point where it was safe to consume.
Right.
So,
Well,
a
and I
lot of
believe you
those-
guys wouldn't give it to the public either.
No.
Right.
Just from knowing Mike over the last few years and hearing him talk about your
Yes.
process and how you do things, like there's just, if people
Right.
really knew and took the time to actually get to know people at your company, like I think they would not be touting what they're touting, but that's neither
So-
here nor there. But
Right.
A lot of people have told us that you can't get a 99% Delta 8 product just from doing things like distillation. but I have a COA that says different.
Nice.
So-
And Zach is asking if you have single batch COAs. When do you test? What do you have? Let me see exactly what he says.
We test.
It disappeared.
Like I say,
Like
at the
small
farmer
batch.
point, we test at the crude point, we test at the distillate, we test at the isolate,
Yep.
we test at final product, we then test at registration product, re-registration, the random tests that the state comes in and does. I mean, right there, and there's 8 tests for a single gummy.
Dang.
Right. And then
Dang.
we do quality pulls as well. So
Yes.
I will pull like tinctures or gummies and go have a third party tell me the potency, any kind of contaminants, anything like that, to make sure that like everything we're doing is clean, and that also everything that we are putting on the label is in the product. Because it's when CBD first came out, that was kind of a problem sometimes, and we don't want people to not know, that they're getting, if they think they're getting 2,000 milligrams of CBD in that bottle of tincture or whatever, they're going to make sure
to get it.
That it's there. Because there's some leeway, right? Like, you don't actually have to hit that milligram count. Isn't there like a 10%
10%.
buffer?
10% plus or minus.
Okay.
But if we
So it
ever
could be
tested
over or
something-
under.
Yeah. Most people probably choose under.
Yeah, we
Most
just to
7-Eleven
tell you,
brands.
we choose over.
Nice.
So most of the time, especially with the minors that we have in our products, like if it says a 2,000 milligram CBD tincture, it's probably closer to 2,200 milligrams of,
Nice.
like that extra 200 is a mix of CBD and a bunch of other minor cannabinoids that
Right.
are helpful in the efficacy of
Nice.
that product. So
That's awesome.
And I'll point out too,
We don't-
these quality checks
Yeah.
aren't required.
no.
We do this because we are that passionate about the products.
Yes.
Sounds like it. Sounds like you guys are doing about it as best as you can, as anybody can,
Exactly. Yeah,
and then
exactly.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Well-
not just really skating by what's required. It sounds like you're doing a whole lot more just
Not
to
at
make
all.
sure.
We love it when the state comes by.
Oh yeah.
'Cause we
Oh,
get
tell
to
us
show
about the
them.
last visit. Yes. Tell us about the last visit.
Yeah. So I guess they had hired a bunch of new inspectors, and so they brought them here, and we had this gang of 5 state employees inspecting us.
Instead of just one.
Yeah, instead of
There's
one like
5.
normal, there's 5 of them, and all of them had their little clipboards out, and I was pointing out stuff that they would go, oh, really? Almost like they were adding checkpoints to the things I was pointing out.
So you're helping establish good practices
Right.
for them so that they know what to look for in other labs as far as the good stuff.
We,
Right.
we
Heck
want
yeah.
to be an example. And when I say that, we want to be an example of what we would like to see in the industry.
Right.
When CBD first happened, when the Farm Bill first came out, you'd see extractors in a shed with a dirt floor extracting hemp and isolating CBD and stuff like that, and right outside was 2 Lambos because they were making that much money in a shack in a field somewhere with no regulation, no checkups, and I wouldn't give that to like
Anyone.
somebody I didn't know, let alone my grandmother or my parents or my siblings or
Right.
anything like that. So I come from, well, and Jeff does as well. We come from a very like clean room scientific background,
Right.
and that's how we work here. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
Proprietary or not, what solvents are used? Come on, be fair, Dean.
proprietary.
Rustin
the
asks,
only- hold on.
I
I'm happy
wouldn't.
to
I think
answer.
he's just being a wise ass.
The only solvents that we use in our lab that touch any cannabinoids are ethanol and heptane.
Oh,
That's
he
it.
did say something about, don't you require a polar and non-polar solvent such as hexane or peptane?
No.
Okay.
No, the heptane has nothing to do with. I'm assuming he's talking about Delta 8 or.
I hope he's still talking about Delta 8. This is, he's speaking German to me right now. I'm
Oh.
anxious to learn
No,
what this
you-
even means.
You don't. No, I'm not sure what he's asking, but it's kind of a rare event that we ever use that or ever have a need to use it. But those are the only 2 solvents that would ever touch any of our products, and
Okay.
they're certainly not in there when we put them in final products and give them to the public.
No, it's German to me, Dean, because I don't know what you're saying. That's all I mean. And he says he's not being a wise ass. Peptane is toxic. Okay.
Yeah.
Rustin just wants to know real quick
So
too.
is ethanol.
I don't know. That
Everything's
is German
toxic.
to me. I don't
Everything's
know.
toxic, yeah.
In certain forms, right?
Mhm.
Rustin's just asking, what would they do if they were a farmer with biomass and flour now? That sounds like a pretty broad question.
What would
I know
we
that he's
do?
having trouble selling his flowers,
Yeah.
so maybe just some advice for him as a hemp farmer, like what to do with the flour that he has. What's maybe the best route for them to go to get their product sold when they can't
Yeah.
sell it to the consumer in Utah?
So yeah, well that was a hard thing to
Right.
get over, that hemp flour wasn't going to be a thing at anymore.
Well, it is. You just have to buy it online and have it shipped into Utah.
Oh,
It's you
There-
can
there's
have
a way
hemp-
around it.
Yes.
there's
So-
a way around a lot of things, but
Right.
yeah, we were pretty bummed about that as far as what to do with it. It's hard to say without seeing like a COA or like anything
Yeah.
like that. It just depends on what you want done with it. If you want to sell it, you're just going to have to reach out to a lab
Yeah.
and kind of tell them what you have. And
Selling it is pretty difficult. I used to do some
Yeah.
consulting with some farmers and stuff, and my advice would always be talk to a lab first. Don't even germinate a seed yet. Talk to a lab first, get that contract going, and then grow what you contracted. Because we're not a big lab. We can't just buy biomass. We do a lot of splits, a lot of tolls, that kind of stuff, where we're keeping part of the product, and we're not charging them to do it. So they get to keep half of it. Problem is, you grow corn, you don't sell it to Kellogg's and get half your corn back. So for the farmer, it's pretty difficult. They
Right.
expect to just sell it and then plant new product next year and sell it and not get half of it back. But we can't afford to buy all that biomass and then turn it into to final product.
Right.
a lot of people got into farming hemp, especially once the Farm Bill happened, right? And because we're such a small operation, we can do some of that tolling and
Mhm.
some of that extraction for others. But most of what our focus is every single day, we're here 18 hours a day, is small batch processes and very specific to our final products.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've heard that before. Make sure it's sold before you even plant a seed, and
Yeah.
that's really difficult
And
too.
unfortunately, it's a pretty dog-eat-dog market right now because so many people grew, and so there was a picking and choosing of which COAs were better. And
Right.
if you're going to compare like a 14% to a 10% CBD flower, you're going to get more bang for your buck as an extractor if you go with the 14, or maybe it's 13, but it's got other minors and the terpene profile you're looking for. All of those things is what we look for because we use terpenes, cannabinoids, crude, distillate, isolates. We use it all. So it's different than if you're going to a lab that only does the extraction. So
Yeah.
we can only speak so far on that, but I would
Yeah.
suggest maybe looking at a bigger extractor that's really all they do is extract and then sell the raw material. So
Yeah. Do you guys think there's room for like actual industrial hemp to be grown here? The stalks?
and
I think so. I really do. Like you
in
say,
Utah, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
why not?
I'd love to see a deported.
I'd love to do it myself.
Yeah,
It seems
yeah.
like it's such easy work, but I'm just a normal human.
It's
But I
really
mean, it's
cool.
like grow it, chop it, sell it at that,
Right.
and then you're saving the planet that way too.
Yep.
I know there's like a thing about cross pollinating and having to be so far away from a hemp a flowering hemp farm, I guess, if you will. But I think there's a lot of room for that. And if people are getting burned growing the flower, maybe let's transition, if there's enough space in between farms, to maybe do the hemp fiber, because there's so many things. Lego just decided to, by like 2025, they're going to start using hemp plastic. There's hardwood floors made out of hemp. There's hempcrete right here in like the Logan area, I believe. There's like a whole community of houses being built out. Amy Jensen was part of that. So hopefully, you know, we can maybe...
It's a very versatile plant.
Maybe you do that if you love to grow it and you love to smell it and you want to help the planet. I mean, that might not be a bad idea either. I was thinking about it out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You'll find, though, a lot of the people who are growing like 4-CBD or THC, the way you prune the plant doesn't really provide a good fiber stock. And so a lot of these companies won't take that because your fiber's short.
Yeah.
I just read an article, a company had grown a 25-foot tall hemp plant, and the fiber is the entire length. So you got a 25-foot length fiber.
Yep.
That's what they want for those type of things.
And
but
I think for the hardwood floors too.
Yeah.
Because they don't want it like a plyboard. They want it like the fibers smashed. But I don't know how to explain it because I don't know all the terms. But they don't want to make it like plyboard. They want to have those long fibers so that it looks like wood.
Right.
Yeah.
And so doing an indoor or greenhouse grow, I mean, you're splitting, you're undercutting, you're, what do they call it, lollipopping, that kind of stuff. So it won't come out what they want. But
you can make me a bonsai Rustin and I'll buy that from you.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's like legal to have in the house. I heard it's not, but I mean, if that's the least of my worries, that I have a hemp bonsai plant. That would be so cool. Hey, Marcy. Hey, Remington. Well, I just appreciate you guys. I just, you know, I like action, and I like, you know, if these issues are coming up in the community, I like just kind of going to the source instead of going to Google and Facebook memes. And the platform's good enough to where like I can do things like that and just get good information out to people that comes from the companies that are making these products. The scientists. It does not look like a garage in here, by the way. It does not look like a garage. It actually looks very legitimate, and I really like the fact that the state comes in and trains their people here. That should really mean a lot to the consumer. Honestly, they should get the connection there that it's about as safe as it can be, which is very, very safe as long as it's done right.
Yeah, like I said, we want to be an example.
Yeah. Okay. You guys want to finish it off with anything? I know it's like Facebook Lives are so weird, and you just never know what to say or what to do, or like have the camera go up your nose on accident or like whatever. But do you guys have any other questions before we cut them loose and let them get back to their Friday? If not, that was beautiful. I just looked at my nose on the laptop. Funny, whatever. It's not about that. It's not about me. Just if you guys have any other questions, I'm sure these guys would be happy to stay for another second or two. But if not, we'll let them get back to their Friday. And we just super appreciate you guys being honest and open and willing, because this is really where our information should be coming from.
Right. Yeah. Well, and
saying.
So, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. If you do want to reach out, I'm sure I'll be commenting on some of the comments you guys are putting on the post. Feel free to reach out. I also run a blog at blackhouseBotanicals.com. I take questions at blackhouseBotanicalsblog@gmail.com.
And you just posted how to read a COA. I think that's pretty huge.
That was a while back, but people should know what they're looking at. So we're here to try and break some of the stigma on this plant, whether it's hemp or marijuana. It's all cannabis. It all has so much to give, and the more we learn about it, the more we share with each other and like really dive into what it can do. Like that's why we do it, right? So you should always be concerned about the cleanliness of anything you put in your body, whether it's a Monster Energy drink or a cannabis product, hemp, marijuana,
food.
Otherwise.
If it comes out of a box, you probably shouldn't eat it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, nobody's saying don't eat hamburger helper. It's a terrible, terrible thing, but like literally hamburger helper is chemicals. That's all it is. It's not even real freaking food.
So
don't get me started.
As far as a lot of stuff that's being set out right now, Delta 8's a natural cannabinoid. It's in the degradation pathway. It is, I'm not sure where some people are saying there's no research on it. If you want to look right there, there's a stack of papers about Delta 8 and THC, how they relate to each other, how they fit into the CB1 receptor. Yeah, like if you want to talk about the science, I'm happy to do it. I really love it. So
Right.
but yeah, just it goes as far as anything else that you would put into your body or put on your skin or anything like that. You want to make sure it's clean. That's why we have COAs for our products. That's why we test as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we run the blog, to make sure people understand what they're looking at when they look at a COA, or understand kind of what happens in this process and why it's clean or safe. I mean, a lot of those vape cartridges out there are made with distillate, and most of the time that distillate's not more than 85 to 90% because of that process. You just don't generally get above those numbers. Then they put some terpenes into it and put it in a cart, and plenty of people have used those. They're effective, they love them, and that's fine. But you should always look into where your things come from, with whatever it is. And
Especially if
we're
it's
happy
going
to-
straight to your lungs.
Right.
Right.
And we're happy to talk about that, happy to clear anything up.
Zach wants to know if you guys are going to start making Delta 10 products.
No. Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Delta 10's less.
That's where there's not enough research, right?
Well, there's not a whole lot of research
Yeah.
as far as a few things. There's a lot more research out there than some people would like to say there isn't or is.
Yeah.
There was what happened? There was a recent discussion. Somebody was talking about Delta 8 being the only study being done or had ever been done was about 8 children and the antiemetic effects, the anti-nausea of Delta 8 compared to Delta 9 and like the uncomfortable headiness of like Delta 9 at the same concentration that would give the same antiemetic effects as Delta 8, or some antiemetic, I can't remember what the medication was.
Yeah.
And they touted that study as not good enough because it was off of only 8 individuals. It was over 2.5 years, and it included over 480 chemotherapy sessions. That Delta 8 was the only one that was effective at not helping those kids not throw up 100% of the time.
Dang.
So there's 2 sides to everything. On our blog post, we're happy to share where we got a lot of our research. A lot of everything we do here and everything we talk about, the reason it took us so long is that I'm a stickler for peer-reviewed research. Jeff is as well. We love it. We love diving into it. It
Right.
takes a lot of time and work, but we want to make sure that everything that we do here is based off of science and what makes sense, what is safe. No garage chemists here, so
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, I think. Hold on. I lied.
Is there a question?
Well, there might. Nope. No more questions. Just Rustin
more.
says most foods aren't tested half as much as this plant, which is
That's very true.
That's so
true. But then I start getting into my supposedly conspiracy theory stuff, and I don't like the comparison to cannabis and food, cannabis and alcohol, cannabis and cigarettes. Those things are legal, ready and
whatever
open
reason.
for
Right, yeah.
because it's us killing ourselves slowly, and we pay for it. We literally hand the money to the checkout lady, and then we literally destroy ourselves slowly with those substances. So that's why they're legal. They're population control stuff, and Big Pharma is the same thing. It's population control, man. I'm just saying. So I don't like cigarettes and alcohol are legal and they get less flack. Well, yeah, but it's not because we're comparing cannabis to alcohol. It's
Right.
because cannabis heals and alcohol kills. Like, I don't have anything wrong with alcohol or drinking. People have free will and choice. I just choose to put other things in my body most of the time. But it's just a way for us to pay for our slow and painful death. That will happen faster than if we have cannabis. So really, it's a life issue, not a comparative a comparative
Right.
thing, but I guess that's a subject for another day if anybody even cares. But we're going to go ahead and close it out, you guys. Just say thank you, please. A big thank you to Jeff and Michael for being here. And if you guys want to save or ask them any questions later on, they're more than willing. Just go hop on their website or get on their social media. I'm sure they'll get the messages and all that. And just if you want to ask in detail, they're super happy to let you know, or maybe let you walk through and come check it out. I mean, these guys really have nothing to hide and all the information to give, actually. So really respect you guys for what you do and how you do it. And I'm just really happy that we had the opportunity to do this today and just show people from the perspective of the people that are actually making these
doing
products
it.
what your side of the whole thing is. So appreciate ya.
Thank you.
And where are your products available? Do you guys have a store locator on your website?
We do.
By chance? Okay.
Yes.
I would just check out their website and do that. Or Zach is in Bountiful, but I know he travels quite a bit. Do you know of any shops in Bountiful off the top of your head that carry it?
Off the top of my head, no.
Brooke and I were talking about
I know that Wellness
Beautiful.
Underground up in Kaysville
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
That might be the closest
The
one.
Wellness Underground does. There's where is that place? There's a place in Layton that carries a Aloha CBD. I
Aloha
think is their
CBD,
name.
okay.
But we do have a store.
Or CBD Plus? Does CBD
Maybe.
Plus have your guys'
I'm
list?
not sure.
Okay.
My beautiful wife is in charge of
She
all
would
that,
know.
so
Oh, I know,
she
and
would
she's a
be the one
beast
to
for
ask.
getting it everywhere already. Like
Yes.
everywhere I go.
She is
Awesome.
amazing.
When I was
So,
getting Trojan into stores, it was like I was like, oh, they already have Blackhouse. They already know the good stuff. Then perfect. Trojan's just gonna fit right in, right?
Yeah,
That's the
it's
way
true.
you think of things. And so that's
Yeah.
what actually when I worked for Muscle MX and I heard about Hemp Lucid all the time, they're like, oh no, we carry Hemp Lucid. I'm like, great, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
This will go right next to it perfectly. Like,
go beautiful.
Yeah.
and I love Hemp Lucid. They actually helped me with quite a bit of education when I first started selling for Muscle MX, and Boojum too. They know it. I'm like, they were your competitors, but that's where I learned. It's whatever. Anyway, so we'll check you guys later, and we're gonna be interviewing Trojan Horse on Monday so that you guys can hear from Trojan Horse what they want to tell you about their Delta 9 products and how they make them and what the deal is, because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of the same safety talks and triple testing and all kinds of stuff. So thanks again, you guys, and we will just sign off for now. And then if you have any other questions, just type them in the comments. Brooke's been fielding a lot of these too. So have a good day, you guys.
Awesome.
Love your
Thank you.
freaking faces.
Thank you.